On this week's show, the playoff field is finally set in the NFL, and the Georgia Bulldogs are your college football national champions.
In this week's history lesson, we tell the story of the time when the Boston Patriots called Harvard Stadium home.
That and much more this week in the world of football.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of This Week in the World of Football. This is episode number 231 for January 11th, 2022. I'm your host, Randy Snow, and across the table from me, as always, is my son, Adam.
It's over. The longest season in NFL history is finally done, and now what are we gonna do?
And the college season's
college
done
season's
too.
over.
Yep. Things are winding down.
Yeah,
but
our Lions are done.
Yep.
See how many? I'm trying to do quick math. I should have prepared this before. See, there's 32 teams. 14 getting to the playoffs. So 18 teams are sitting at home right now.
Yeah, just like us. We come.
But hey, the good thing is we have just as many touchdown catches this season as Kenny Galladay, who got paid $75 million to go be a New York Giant. So we have just as many touchdown catches as him, which is 0.
We come to you each week from the World of Football Man Cave, located right here in the center of the football world, Kalamazoo, Michigan. We're here to promote the game of football in all its many forms, past, present, and future. From the NFL to the CFL to the XFL, college, high school, indoor, and arena football, we inform and entertain our listeners with the glorious buffet that is the world of football. All this while keeping a close eye on the rich history of the game. Thanks for checking out our podcast. We'd love to get your feedback on one of our many platforms: Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and now YouTube, where we post the entire audio portion of this show every week, as well as selected videos. So, let's review what happened this past week, and we begin with the World of Football scoreboard.
That's right. Like we were saying off the top, it was week 18 in the league this year. It was the longest NFL regular season in history, which made for many records being broken just out of the fact that there's an extra game.
Yeah. Well, I wonder how many years it's going to be before they go to an 18-game schedule.
I could see it being somewhere right around the corner, maybe 5-10 years.
I would say within 5 years they're going to be playing.
I think that's what
an 18-game schedule.
Yep, 2-game preseason.
Yep.
So it's probably right around the corner.
Just like the CFL.
Yeah. Then we'll be breaking more records again, and gosh, we'll have to put more asterisks next to a lot of these things.
Well, when I started following the NFL, they were playing a 14-game schedule.
Right.
And they went to 16. Now they're at 17. I'm going to see them go to 18 in a few years, I think.
Right. I mean, it was a natural. I won't say it was a natural progression, but we all knew at some point they're going to get rid of some preseason games because you went from 6 preseason games down to 4.
Yes.
Now we're down to 3, and we sure as heck can only put up with 2. So.
Yeah, and years ago with 6 preseason games, if you played in the Hall of Fame game, that was 7.
Right.
7 preseason games before the regular season started.
Yep. But this week, though, we had a couple Saturday games we got to start with, and the Kansas City Chiefs got the victory over the Denver Broncos 28-24. Kansas City becomes the 5th team in NFL history to win 12 or more games in 4 straight seasons. What a turnaround for Kansas City this year. They started off this season not looking like they would even make the playoffs, let alone win their own division.
Yeah, I didn't think they'd get to 12 wins this year, that's for sure. They looked terrible towards the middle part of the season.
Yep. And then on the opposite side for the Denver Broncos, I mean, you probably got this in the news segment, but head coach Vic Fangio was relieved of his head coaching duties.
Yep.
And that'll be the first of many head coach firings we'll have because yesterday was the infamous Black Monday. So, all right, moving on. The Dallas Cowboys walloped the Philadelphia Eagles for a scoregami, I might add.
Oh, boy.
They beat the Eagles 51-26. Dak Prescott threw his 37th touchdown, which surpassed Tony Romo for the most in Dallas Cowboys history. Again, the first domino of that extra game kind of helping him out. But Dak was injured for a couple of games, so some guys broke records missing a couple of games. I know a lot of people were like, oh, they got an extra game. Well, some guys actually were hurt, so they still technically did it in 16 games.
Yeah, I didn't think Dallas would win this game. I was shocked, but they looked very powerful. So going into the playoffs, who knows how far they're going to go
True.
this year.
What was it? Some stat I saw, the Cowboys are they look really good against their division, but when it comes to playing teams that actually had decent records, they haven't been able to do anything.
Yeah, I think I saw that too.
So we'll see what lies with Dallas in the playoffs and for the Eagles in the playoffs, and we'll talk about that matchup later on because the Eagles were already clinched, given a spot. So it's not like they were playing for much other than jockeying for one of those last 3 seeds.
Right.
All right. And probably one of the biggest shockers of the day, if not the biggest shocker of the day, the Jacksonville Jaguars got the 26-11 victory over the Indianapolis Colts, essentially sending the Colts packing out of the playoffs. Indianapolis has now lost 7 straight road games in Jacksonville.
Wow.
So,
you mentioned that last week. I didn't know that statistic, but
goes back.
I did not think Jacksonville was going to win that game either.
I did. I saw that stat and I was like, I'm going to put my money on Jacksonville, maybe pulling it up for some weird reason. I don't know why, but and then this on a day where the Jacksonville fans came out in clown costumes. It was Clown Town all day. Did you see any of this?
I saw one picture of a guy in the stands, but you were telling me about it. I did not see any.
Look up the videos. Somebody even paid to have a plane fly over with a banner that said Clown Town. It was great. And I don't know if you don't watch the Pat McAfee show at all, but he had because he was obviously an Indianapolis Colt,
right? And
he's still a big Colts fan. But his meltdown on his show from yesterday about the Indianapolis Colts losing to the Jaguars is great. They put the 8-minute segment up on their YouTube channel, and it was pretty great watching him just melt down at this. If you get a chance to go check that out, I'd highly recommend it. We're going to jump up to Michigan, where the Detroit Lions defeated the Green Bay Packers 37-30. That's right. A team that was almost going to get the first pick overall with the victory gets the number 2 pick overall, but they also defeat the number 1 seed in the NFC. And how did they do this, you might ask? Well, Aaron Rodgers did only play one half. But even then, they were beating Aaron Rodgers 17-13.
Yes,
so
yes. They had the lead at halftime when he was in there.
I think the whole plan might have been for Aaron Rodgers to just play one half maybe, but it's not like he went out there and was just handing the ball off and looking like he was gonna take it easy on Detroit. No, I feel like he still came out. He acted like, hey, I'm gonna try to go out there and win this game, or at least get us a good enough lead for Jordan Love to come in and play. And Detroit showed up. I mean, Green Bay clawed back in the second half. They let Jordan Love kind of orchestrate a couple of nice drives to, make the Lions sweat a little bit after getting that lead. But Detroit did what they had to do, and they sealed the win.
Some great trick plays in this game. Oh, my gosh. The tight end, I forget his name, throwing a 75-yard.
No, that was a wide receiver, Tom Kennedy, threw a 75-yard.
Wasn't he a tight end?
Nope, he was a wide receiver. He threw it, a tight end caught a touchdown on a trick play.
Right.
But Tom Kennedy, like our 12th string wide receiver this season, he threw a 75-yard touchdown pass.
Yeah.
And that was the longest touchdown pass thrown by a non-quarterback since like 2002 or something like that. So that was really cool, and that kind of started off the day for us. Like, all right, well, this is going to be fun. Maybe even if we lose, this is fun. And then the Lions did another reverse back to Jared Goff, who threw a 30-something yard touchdown pass to the rookie tight end.
This was a fun game to watch. I don't care if you're a Lions fan or not. This was fun game to watch. It was very satisfying for us, even though. By winning, if we'd lost the game, we would have had the number 1 pick.
Yeah, especially with Jacksonville winning, yeah.
But I'm happy with the number 2 pick. Like I told you, Barry Sanders was the number 2 overall pick.
Calvin
Detroit.
Johnson was the number 2 overall
So we
pick.
can get a good player with the number 2 pick, and I think we'll do just fine.
Yeah,
I'm happy with the win. I'm happy with our number 2 pick in the draft.
Yeah, and I think even if you weren't a Lions or Packers fan, to see some of these upcoming guys like Jordan Love, what's he going to be like? Because we all know he's going to be the heir apparent to Aaron Rodgers.
Wasn't impressed.
I mean, hey, it was like one of his first longest stints on the field, I want to say. And he looked okay at times, but yeah, he's still making some young quarterback mistakes. But then you have Amon-Ra St. Brown on Detroit's side, a 4th-round wide receiver pick who just...
He was doing everything.
He did everything. He runs the ball. He catches the ball. I thought he was going to throw the ball at one point. But they used him so much that the defense, that's how they got fooled on some of those trick plays. They were watching Amon-Ra doing these reverses, like, oh, he's going to get the ball. And then Lions, showing the car keys in one hand and throwing them with the other. It was great. So, you got to see some good young players for Detroit. Jared Goff, still not the greatest quarterback in the world, but he's shown why maybe he deserves another season in Detroit to be our starter. So
I was totally against him the first half of the season.
Oh yeah, he was awful the first half of the season.
Detroit has gone 3-3 in the last 6 games.
Yep, since
and they've played really well all season long.
Yeah.
They lost some heartbreakers early on. They could have been a lot better this year, but had a much better record. But I'm happy with the way they ended the season. I don't say that momentum is going to carry over into next year, but
no, that's hard
we
to do.
found out who our good players are, who's not making the cut, and the draft last year came out pretty well with Penei Sewell and Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah.
So, who are they going to get this time around? Hopefully Campbell can make this team even better.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm still I've been notorious for saying I've been out on Campbell since that big 4th down play in the win against the Vikings, but I'm like on the fence. I'm like Wilson in Home Improvement. I'm like right there on the fence. I'm looking over at you, Tool Man, but I'm just not ready to hop over and show my face just yet at the Campbell party. But we'll see. We'll see how their offseason goes. They already got a coaching move they made, firing or parting ways, I guess, amicably with their offensive coordinator. So we'll see how that goes. And
well, you were at 3 Lions games this year.
Yeah,
I went to 2. And
2 heartbreakers,
and we didn't see a single win.
Yeah.
So,
thanks for reminding me.
Yeah. But whoever went to that Packers game yesterday, and I think there were a lot of Packers fans at that game, just like there were a lot of Bears fans when we went there on Thanksgiving. And nice to see the Packers fans had that long ride back to snowy Green Bay with a loss in their pocket.
All right, we're going to move on. The Washington football team, who will have a name within the month, about a month. We've got like 3 weeks, and we'll get the new name. They defeated the New York Giants 22-7. The Giants, what a dumpster fire the Giants have been. Oh my gosh, fans booing them, and there was a great video of them running on a 3rd and 9 at their own end of the field, like a goal line play. It was like, what are you doing? Like they're not even trying. It was sad. I feel bad for Giants fans, but yeah.
Didn't somebody sue the Jets and the Giants, saying that they needed to go back to New York and not play in New Jersey anymore?
Well, they said that it's like false advertising or something like that, where you play in New Jersey, but you're claiming you're from New York. So I always kind of took it was New York State, so they could play anywhere in New York and kind of be like, oh yeah, we're New York State's the the New York comes from.
They're technically in New Jersey.
Yeah, so I don't know. That was a weird story. Go look that up.
Going anywhere.
Hey, who knows? If it goes any further, we'll have to talk about it some more.
Fan frustration.
More fan frustration in Chicago as the Bears lost to the Vikings 31-17. Minnesota has won 3 of the last 4 games against Chicago, and for these 2 teams, both head coaches fired, both general managers fired, Matt Nagy and Mike Zimmer, the head coaches of the Bears and Vikings respectively, along with their general managers, all fired. So,
weren't you saying that Dan Campbell is now the second?
He's the second longest tenured coach in the NFC North,
behind the Packers.
The Packers head coach.
Oh my gosh,
whose name escapes me right now? The Wonderkin.
I don't know.
What's his name?
We call him loser after last Sunday.
Matt LaFleur is his name. I wouldn't call him a loser. 3 straight 13-win seasons.
Yeah.
Moving on, the Tennessee Titans sealed up the number 1 seed in the AFC with a 28-25 win over the Texans. Good for them. I know the Chiefs needed the Titans to lose, but the Titans did enough to win that one to keep the number 1 seed. The Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Ravens 16-13 in overtime.
Yeah, that was a weird game.
Yeah, T.J. Watt tied Michael Strahan with 22.5 sacks. For the most sacks in a season since 1982. Again, people were saying, he had an extra game. Watt was hurt for a couple games, guys, so he did it under that 17-game mark. So good for him. A heck of a player there. And then the Steelers would wait all evening to find out their playoff fate because with the win, they were just essentially needing a loss on the Sunday Night Football game, which we'll talk about here at the end. The Cincinnati Bengals lost to the Cleveland Browns 21-16. Jamar Chase surpassed Calvin Johnson for the most receiving yards in a season, or not Calvin Johnson, sorry, Chad Johnson. They just put a C there. For most receiving yards in a season in Cincinnati Bengals history. You can see I don't even think about Chad Johnson. But yeah, so Jamar Chase with 15 more receiving yards than Chad Johnson had back in 2007 for the most yards in a season in Bengals history. Again, that extra game kind of helps. The San Francisco 49ers upset the Los Angeles Rams 27-24 in overtime.
Yeah.
A game that, on that last drive, the Rams officially clinched the NFC West title. But then they threw They threw an interception on that last drive to seal up the win for the Niners, because the Niners went down, kicked a field goal, and the Rams, all they had to do was go down, score a touchdown to win, or kick a field goal to keep overtime going. And Stafford throws a really bad interception. You can see why he threw that pass. It was the sideline. He had his good receiver there, and if anything, maybe the ball goes out of bounds, or neither of them can catch it, and the defensive back got it.
Yeah, that was a good catch.
It was a good catch and a good win for the Niners, who are in the playoffs officially. Then you had the Arizona Cardinals fall to the Seattle Seahawks 38-30, and it was because of this loss is what handed the Rams their NFC West title regardless. Arizona's now lost 4 of their last 5 games. They started the season 10-2, so the Cardinals going into the playoffs not looking as good as they did at the start of the season. And then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat the Panthers 41-17. Tampa Bay's 13 wins in a season is the first time that has happened in franchise history. And with that Rams loss, that helps the Buccaneers clinch the number 2 seed in the NFC playoffs.
Yeah, you win 13 games and you're not the top team in your conference.
Right. The Miami Dolphins upset the New England Patriots 33-24, and despite that win, and despite winning 7 of their last 8 games, the Dolphins parted ways with head coach Tom. Was it Tom?
I got it here.
Yeah,
Flores.
Tom Flores, or you just have Flores?
Brian Flores.
Brian Flores. There we go. So that was a bit of a shock. I think a lot of people were expecting him to come back, especially after, turning the team around in the middle of the season like that. Winning 7 straight games.
Yep. They had a 7-game losing streak, then they had a 7-game winning streak.
Yep.
They won 8 of their last 9 games.
Yep.
What more can a man do to keep his job?
And a lot of people are upset about this, but the rumor going around is that the general manager wants Tua to stay the quarterback, but Brian Flores wants maybe a trade for another quarterback. Deshaun Watson was heavily rumored during the season, so we'll see what happens with that Dolphins organization and if this move pays off.
Okay.
Bold strategy, Cotton. All right. The New Orleans Saints got a victory over the Atlanta Falcons 30-20. Doesn't mean a whole lot there. Neither of those teams are in the playoffs. The Buffalo Bills got the victory over the New York Jets 27-10 to clinch the AFC East for the Bills. And then finally, perhaps the best game of the week, for sure.
It was,
but the best game of the season, perhaps. The Las Vegas Raiders defeated the Los Angeles Chargers 35-32 in overtime on a last-second field goal. That's right. It literally came down to the last seconds of that overtime for the Raiders to clinch.
But it looked like it was going to be a tie.
Yes, that was the speculation going in. For both of these teams to get into the playoffs, they could tie.
Right.
So people were saying, are these two teams just going to come in and kneel it for 4 quarters and just both walk into the playoffs together? Well, for a while there, the Raiders were on top. I was watching this game. They were up like 28 to 13, and then the Chargers just mounted a great comeback. Justin Herbert was throwing, as one of the NFL memes' best posts ever said, piss missiles on 4th and 21. I was like, there's no way this kid's going to throw the touchdown pass, right? And he threw a dart to the end zone for a touchdown. I was like, wow, okay, now they're only down by 8 points. Let's see what happens. And then I don't know if they went for 2 at that point, but they went for 2 at some point. They might have went for 2 on that play after that. Then they go down, they score another touchdown to tie things up. Then we go to overtime, and both teams go down, they kick field goals. And then after that, it's like the Raiders looked like they were just going to run out the clock.
Yeah.
Nobody looked like they could really do much else. Like they were all running out of steam. They're all tired. And the Raiders looked like they were just running out the clock. We got down to about 30 seconds left. And then inexplicably, out of nowhere, the Los Angeles Chargers call a timeout, which was really bizarre because the clock, if you're the Chargers, you just let the clock run down and you're in the playoffs too.
Right.
So it was a weird strategy. And then the Raiders popped off a big run to get in field goal position and decided, you know what, we're here. Let's do it. Let's kick the field goal and send the Chargers packing.
Yeah, and they did. Man.
And they did. And what a thrilling, like, I didn't think it'd be this thrilling of a game. I thought, the stakes were at least good enough to watch the game, but the way this game ended up going, instant NFL classic.
Well, full disclosure, I went to bed at halftime.
Yeah,
I could not keep my eyes open.
I heard you
that
did.
night. Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, I was watching on my phone. I was doing some video editing and watching this at the same time. And let's just say I didn't get a whole lot of video editing done until the game was over because I was sitting there watching the game on my phone like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, definitely the wildest end to a season
Right.
with a lot on the line for both teams.
Yep.
So, yeah, a very, very exciting ending.
Yep, so with all that, the road to Super Bowl 56 was set, and let's start with the playoff matchups. Maybe not necessarily each day of the week yet. We could talk about that at the end of the show if you want, but here are your playoff matchups. Your number 1 seed, first off, getting the bye, will be the Tennessee Titans. The number 2 seed, Kansas City Chiefs, will host the number 7 seed, Pittsburgh Steelers. The number 3 seed, Buffalo Bills, will host the number 6 seed, New England Patriots. And the number 4 seed, Cincinnati Bengals, will host the Las Vegas Raiders. Over on the NFC side of things, the number 1 ranked Green Bay Packers will get that sweet bye, and Lambeau Field will be the home of the NFC Championship if Green Bay can get that far.
Yep.
So then you have the number 2 seed, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, hosting the number 7 seed, Philadelphia Eagles. The number 3 seed, Dallas Cowboys, will host the number 6 seed, San Francisco 49ers. And the number 4 seed, Los Angeles Rams, will host the number 5 seed, Arizona Cardinals. Any of those games stick out to you?
I think the Cardinals and Rams game.
That'll be interesting.
And the Bills Patriots. Yeah.
A couple of division games, in the playoffs.
Maybe
there.
the 49ers Cowboys.
Yeah, I think there's going to be quite a few upsets. I could see some really interesting matchups here that could cause some upsets.
Yeah, but this is going to be a big weekend. You've got 2 games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday, and for the first time in the playoffs, a Monday night game.
Yeah, super wild card weekend they're calling it. So.
Yeah, the Cardinals-Rams game is the Monday night game. So, and you got Raiders and Bengals on Saturday, as well as the Patriots-Bills, and then the rest are on Sunday.
Right.
So, yeah, it's going to be a big weekend of NFL watching.
Yep, should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for some great games.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of great games.
Yep.
So, yeah, games in Cincinnati, in Buffalo, in Tampa, in Dallas, in Kansas City, and in Los Angeles.
Yep.
A lot of weather diversity there.
Yeah. Some indoors, some outdoors.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, and that's it for the NFL side of things right now. We'll throw it over to Randy with what happened over in the world of college football.
Not a whole lot happened in the world of college football. I mean, there were only a couple of games, but they were massive.
Were they? Was this first one massive?
Well, on
was the January 4th Texas Bowl massive?
Well, it was massive because it was the last bowl game of the season. It was the 36th game out of 42 that were scheduled. 6 bowl games got canceled this year because of COVID and other factors. But in the Texas Bowl, it was Kansas State over LSU 42-20. And that's it for the bowl season.
All right. Thank you, bowl season. I think 36, definitely a better number than 42.
Yeah, I'm thinking, the 42, half of that. There should be, 20, maybe 25 games, bowl games. And half of those games came in that last week. We talked about that last week.
Right.
So many games that last week between Christmas and New Year's. Just too many bowl games, I think. I mean, I like to see teams get a chance to go to a bowl, but not everybody deserves it. All right, let's see. Saturday, it was the FCS Championship game. Number 2, North Dakota State defeated number 8, Montana State by the score of 38-10 in Frisco, Texas. This was the 9th FCS Championship for North Dakota State since 2011. Can you believe that? Fullback Hunter Lupke ran for 82 yards and 3 scores and was named the game's MVP. Yeah, North Dakota State, what a powerhouse in the FCS level. They finished the season with a 14-1 record. Montana State had a 12-3 record after that game. So congratulations, North Dakota State, on continuing to dominate at the FCS level. Mm-hmm. There was actually, I don't know if you saw this or not, there was one high school all-star game.
This isn't
on
college.
TV. No, but it's the only other game that was going on.
The
The All-American Bowl, which I don't pay attention to
only
it too
because
much.
this is where players announce what schools they're going to. So
I saw it was on. I watched a couple minutes of it, and that was it.
Yeah.
But it's a football game going on this time of year, so I just thought I'd mention the score. The West team defeated the East team 34-13. That game was played in San Antonio. There's usually a couple of these things. There's the Army sponsors one. I don't know if there's going to be another one or not. We'll find out. And then last night, the FBS National Championship game in Indianapolis. Number 3 Georgia upset number 1 Alabama by the score of 33-18.
Wow.
The score was 9-6 in favor of Alabama at halftime. Nothing but field goals.
Yeah, it was a pretty hard fought slugfest there for a minute.
I was watching this. I actually got a lot of work done on my laptop because I had the game on and I was doing some stuff, and there's another field goal. Oh, there's another field goal.
Yeah.
And so I didn't have to pay too much attention. But, I mean, there were a lot of great plays in that first half. A lot of good runs,
right.
A lot of great catches, just no scoring going on. And then the first touchdown of the game came very late in the third quarter.
Yeah, that's about when I kind of finally started. Was able to sit down and watch the whole game. I was working, so when I got home from work, I was able to sit down, and that's about when the scoring started. I was like, "Oh, I'm glad they waited to start scoring until I got back."
Yeah, once the first touchdown was scored, man, that opened up the floodgates.
Oh, it did.
In the fourth quarter,
and it was entertaining.
That fourth quarter was great.
It was a lot of fun.
Really, really good. Yeah. This is just the second national championship for Georgia. Their one and only national championship came in 1980, so that's 41 years, I guess. Wow. In fact, I think they had the coach of that team in 1980 was there at the game.
Yeah, I think they kept showing him.
Yeah, what was his name? I can't remember what his name was, but he was there, and I was very happy. I was very happy to see Georgia finally get the monkey off their back and beat Alabama. Not played them close. They really had their number. Great defense by both teams.
Right.
But I was just glad to see Georgia finally break through and beat Alabama when it really counted.
Right. This is exactly the result I would have wanted, because I was not happy that it was a rematch. I hate the rematch for the national championship.
Yeah, they played in the FCS.
Clearly, they were the two best teams. They looked like it. But for Georgia, they were the best team throughout most of the season. They were ranked number 1. Then they had the one slip up against Alabama.
Right.
And that's
in the SEC title game.
And they got blown up. They got the doors blown off. And I think to show, like, okay, let's figure out what went wrong, and that the fact that they got a second shot, as much as I didn't like that they got a second shot, I think it was well-deserved in retrospect. They came out, they did what they had to do, and they proved, okay, that last time, that was a fluke. This is the Georgia team that should have beat you the first time around. Yeah. And good for them, and good for Georgia. It's nice to not see Alabama win another national championship. So
yeah, they've got enough.
They got a lot.
They don't need another trophy in their case.
And I think it's funny because Matt Stafford, former Detroit Lion, current Los Angeles Rams quarterback, him and his wife obviously went to Georgia. That's where they met. Right. Kelly Stafford. And Kelly Stafford shared a picture of her mom at the last time the Georgia Bulldogs won the national championship. I believe it had to have been at the Superdome. It looked like it was at the Superdome where they held the national, or wherever that bowl game was when Georgia was proclaimed national champions. But pretty cool there, and congratulations, Bulldog Nation, wherever you guys go by, Dog Nation or whatnot. Because what I thought was cool is I saw that they, every time a team wins a championship, they come out with their own special, like, national championship logo from that team. And the Georgia Bulldogs one is pretty cool. It looks like the border around the bottom is a dog collar, like you see on the Georgia Bulldog mascot. I'll have to see if I can pull that up and find a way to. What
I think is interesting is Lee Corso actually picked Georgia to win.
Did he?
He put on the Georgia helmet, and then they brought out Uga, on the stage, and so they were sitting there together. They had some pictures of Uga during the game. He's got this little.
He was a sleepy man. It was a boring game for him.
He looked like he was bored out of his skull, wanting to go to sleep. Why am I here?
Here's the logo they came out with. So I thought that was pretty cool with
that is.
The dog collar. Yeah.
So congratulations, Georgia, on your win, national champions. Enjoy it. And that is it for this week's World of Football scoreboard.
Yeah.
So let's go on to some NFL news. The Buccaneers finally officially released Antonio Brown on Thursday, January 6th. It took them several days. I guess they're trying to figure out what they could do legally without getting themselves in trouble.
Right.
But,
I don't know if there's any sort of repairing things or letting them come back. And
I don't know.
But On top of that, speaking of the Buccaneers, did you see that Tom Brady stayed in that game to help Gronk get his $500,000 bonus?
No.
Like they wanted Brady out of the game, and Brady's like, "Nah, I'm going back in and making sure that Gronk gets his catches." Like I was like, "All right, dude, going out there." Like I don't know how many catches Gronk needed.
Like Gronk needs a bonus. Come on.
Well, clearly, but Brady's out there to help his dudes.
They're all swimming in money down there. It doesn't matter. Let's see.
We already talked about the head coach firings during the segment, but I mean, man,
Rick Fangio from Denver was fired on Sunday after 3 seasons.
Yep.
Let's see.
We already talked about that. Rick Fangio from Denver. We had Matt Nagy from Chicago, Mike Zimmer from Minnesota, and then Brian Flores from Miami.
Yep.
We're still waiting on what's going to happen with some of these other coaches. Are the Giants going to part ways with Joe Judge? Yeah. Then obviously John Gruden was let go early in the season. He
resigned earlier. So right now there are 5 NFL head coaching vacancies.
And we'll see what the Raiders do with the interim. I think they said this is the first time an interim head coach has taken a team into the playoffs before for the Raiders.
Taken.
The Liam Neeson movie, Tooken.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting that, I didn't really realize that an interim coach has never taken a team to the playoffs. So
this was a special circumstance
and he's done a great job. The interim coach over there in Las Vegas. So
maybe they'll just keep him on.
We'll see what they do.
Especially if he goes deep into the playoffs or wins the whole thing. Who knows?
We will see.
Okay. Now here's another story I wanted to talk about. And normally we don't get into rumors. If something might happen, we don't talk about it until it actually does or doesn't happen. I don't like to talk about rumors, but this one was
not today. Randy wants to talk about this.
Just too good because it involves the Mannings. Are the Mannings looking to buy an NFL team? This story has been everywhere. I don't know if there's any validity to it or what, but it's everywhere, and I don't know what to make of it. I think it's a cool idea, though.
Oh, yeah.
That the Manning family wants to buy an NFL franchise.
The evidence is there. They've done nothing but build up their brand, and especially since now that both Peyton and Eli are both retired. Peyton just went into the Hall of Fame. You've been seeing them pop up, like even Cooper popping up in commercials. Like the Manning family is
everywhere.
They're everywhere now, and I think they've been building up capital. They've been, the ESPN deal they've had,
right?
Doing games,
right?
Let's just put all that money in our back pocket. All the other endorsement deals and businesses that they own and run. I think it's almost inevitable. And you made a really astute observation that the Denver Broncos could be up for sale this spring.
Yes, it looks very likely that they're going to be for sale. What an
interesting timeline we have here.
Yeah,
so.
a team that Peyton played for and took to a Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl with them, and it all just seems to fit.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I mean, they may not be the only owners. They could bring in a few other people to be minority owners, but of course they would be.
But to slap the Mannings as an ownership group, I mean, that just adds to their NFL legacy. They're already, they were a lineage of quarterbacks, and Cooper was a receiver, but a lineage of NFL quarterbacks. You got Arch Manning coming up now through high school, just committed to Ole Miss, I think.
Maybe they'll draft him.
There you go. Broncos. What if those stars align, where the Denver Broncos could eventually draft Arch Manning? That's better than a movie script, right?
Oh my gosh!
But the world of football rumor mill. Take that with a big grain of salt. It's just speculation.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I'd be interested. Everybody kind of thought Peyton Manning might go into coaching,
Right.
But maybe he'd be better suited as an owner.
Yeah, I think he's just...
he's a smart business guy.
He's having fun doing what he's doing, doing his Peyton's places and Eli's places and...
the Manning cast.
Yeah, I mean, if they went into coaching, they'd get lost. They wouldn't get the attention that they're getting now.
I don't know, but I think ownership suits them more than coaching. I'd love to see Manning as a coach, but at least Peyton. Eli, I can't speak for. I'm not saying Eli's not unintelligible. It's just
make Cooper the coach then.
Well, Cooper, put him in the mascot costume. I think that's no offense, Coop, but
all right. Is this going to become a regular segment, our rumor mill, where we talk about
God, I hope not.
Totally out there?
Your stance is usually no rumors, just the facts.
I know.
So
I thought maybe we'd come up with a logo. Rumor mill logo.
No. Even I'm going to say no to that, and that sounds fun.
All right, moving on to some CFL news.
Anthony Calvillo, one of the best quarterbacks ever up in the Canadian Football League, is returning as the quarterbacks coach of the Montreal Alouettes. Whew.
The Alouettes?
Yeah, Alouette. I'll bet you are. Montreal Alouettes. He coached with Montreal from 2015 to 2017 after he retired as a player, and he's now in the Hall of Fame. And for the last few years, he has been coaching at the University of Montreal. I think he was their quarterbacks coach since 2019. So it's good to see him back with the team that he played for, that he won many Grey Cups with.
Right.
It just seems like a good fit there.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to hear that. I was sorry when he wasn't there anymore. All right, in some college news, the College Football Hall of Fame's class of 2022 was announced yesterday. 18 players and 3 coaches have been
Wow,
named.
so you want to just alternate or do a few each? That's a lot of names.
Let's just alternate.
All
we
right.
don't need to give the years, just what college they played for.
All right.
We'll start with linebacker LeVar Arrington out of Penn State.
Yeah, defensive back Champ Bailey from Georgia.
Wide receiver Michael Crabtree from Texas Tech.
Center Sylvester Croom from Alabama.
Safety Mike Doss from Ohio State.
Quarterback Chuck Ely from Toledo.
Running back Kevin Falk, LSU.
Defensive tackle Mo Gardner from Illinois.
Linebacker Boomer Grigsby out of Illinois State.
Wide receiver Mike Hass from Oregon State.
Linebacker Marvin Jones from Florida State.
Quarterback Andrew Luck from Stanford.
Defensive tackle Mark Messner of Michigan.
Running back Terry Miller from Oklahoma State.
And running back Rasham Salam out of Colorado, the 1994 Heisman Trophy winner.
And you had center Dennis Thomas from Alcorn State.
Offensive tackle Zach Weigert out of Nebraska.
And then defensive back Roy Williams from Oklahoma rounds out your players.
And in the coaches category, there was John Luckhart, who coached at Washington and Jefferson out of Pennsylvania, as well as California out of Pennsylvania.
He posted a 225 win, 70 loss, and 2 tie record there.
And then there was also a Billy Jack Murphy out of Memphis, who had a 91-44-1 record.
And finally, Gary Pinkel he coached at Toledo and Missouri and posted a record of 191 wins, 110 losses, and 3 ties. I've never seen a college football tie in my life, so whenever I see ties in the
yeah, it's been a long time since they had ties.
I can't ever say I've seen a college football
I don't
game
know when
tie.
So
whenever I see those ones, I'm like, man, this guy coached way before I was aware of college football.
Yep. All right. What names stand out to you? I mean,
obviously Andrew Luck. I mean, the biggest name on that list is Andrew Luck.
Yeah, Rasham Salam.
Your Marshall Falk. Wait, not Marshall Falk. Nope.
Kevin Falk.
Wrong guy then. Champ Bailey, a great defensive back.
Yes, he should have been.
LeVar Arrington was great in college. And
Michael Crabtree, great receiver. Yeah. Sylvester Croom, I remember the name.
Yeah, Sylvester Croom, I remember being one of those trench guys that didn't get a lot of love, but you're hearing about him quite a bit.
So a good class, and they're like officially. They have a dinner in December every year to officially induct them into the Hall of Fame. Yeah. Did I tell you I've been to the College Football Hall of Fame down in Atlanta last month?
Yeah, I think my ears are still bleeding from that talk. So.
Okay, I won't bother you anymore with that.
Great, thank you. I appreciate that so
Arena Football
much.
TV on YouTube, they posted a new game from the 2000 season. This time it was the Los Angeles Avengers at the Arizona Rattlers. And I started watching the video a little bit, and the first thing you hear is Eli Gold's voice. Man, I miss him.
We might as well just change the name of this segment to the We Love Eli Gold segment.
Yeah, but the interesting thing about this game was that the LA quarterback was Todd Marinovich, who was a former Oakland Raiders quarterback in 1991 and 1992. As I recall, he didn't do real well in the Arena Football League, but he was there. And I watched about the first 5 minutes, and they had the opening. Jill Arrington was interviewing some people. Then they went to commercial, and what's one of the first commercials that I see? A John Madden commercial for Tough Actin' Tenactin.
Oh.
And they go
Tough
back to the
Tenactin'.
game, and there's a Tenactin sign on the borders, on the walls of the arena there in Arizona. So they were a league sponsor. Check that out in the first 5 minutes. You'll get a John Madden commercial.
Awesome.
All right, let's go on to some obituaries this week. This is where we take a moment to honor those who have made the world of football a better place. We're going to start out with Don Maynard, who played in the NFL, the CFL, and the WFL. He's passed away at the age of 86. Maynard played college football at Texas El Paso and was selected in the 9th round of the 1957 NFL Draft by the New York Giants. He played one season for the Giants in 1958, and then went to Canada and played for the Hamilton Tiger Cats in 1959. He signed with the AFL's New York Titans in 1960. The Titans became the New York Jets in 1963 and defeated the Baltimore Colts in Super Bowl III. Maynard played for the Jets through 1972. He also played for the St. Louis Cardinals in 1973, and he finished his playing career with the Houston Texans, not of the NFL, but of the World Football League, in 1974. Maynard was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1987.
Our next obituary is that of Odell Berry, a wide receiver and kick returner in the NFL for 2 seasons, has passed away at the age of 80. Berry played college football at the University of Findlay in Ohio and was selected in the 19th round of the 1964 AFL Draft by the Denver Broncos. He played in Denver from 1964 to 1965 and was injured in his second season, which ended his playing career.
Another obituary is that of Greg Robinson, who coached in college and in the NFL. He has passed away at the age of 70. This guy had an incredible career. Robinson played college football at Bakersfield Junior College and at the University of the Pacific. He had several stops as a college football assistant. That's saying something right there, including Pacific, Cal State Fullerton, NC State, and UCLA before moving on to the NFL. He was an assistant coach with 3 NFL teams between 1990 and 2003. Those would be the New York Jets, the Denver Broncos, and the Kansas City Chiefs. He won 2 Super Bowls with the Broncos. Robinson then returned to the college ranks, where he was an assistant coach at Texas, and then was the head coach at Syracuse from 2005 to 2008. He finished his coaching career as an assistant coach at Texas, Michigan, and San Jose State before retiring in 2015. Man, that's a ton of teams that this guy was with. Yeah. Long career.
And can you pronounce Syracuse again?
Syracuse?
You said Syracuse.
Syracuse?
It's Syracuse, I believe. Maybe I'll get corrected. I don't know. But just the way you said Syracuse, I was like, oh boy, how you say that?
I think either is acceptable, depending on what part of the country you're from.
Well, on this show it is not. It is Syracuse. All right, moving on. Our next obituary is that of Ralph Neely, an offensive tackle in the NFL for 13 seasons, has passed away at the age of 78. Neely played college football at Oklahoma and was selected in the 2nd round of the 1965 NFL Draft by the Baltimore Colts. He was also selected in the 2nd round of the 1965 AFL Draft by the Houston Oilers. He chose the Colts, who then traded him to the Dallas Cowboys. He played 13 seasons in the NFL, all with the Cowboys from 1965 to 1977, and won 2 Super Bowl.
I thought that was incredible. You get drafted by 2 different teams from 2 different leagues. You pick one, and they immediately trade you away to somebody else. But he had a hell of a career.
Yeah.
13 years. He's credited with keeping Roger Staubach upright. He was protecting his blind side for many years in the NFL. And finally, the last obituary today is that of Ross Browner, a defensive end in the NFL for 10 seasons. He's died of complications of COVID at the age of 67. Browner played college football at Notre Dame and was the 8th overall pick in the 1978 NFL Draft by the Cincinnati Bengals. He played for the Bengals from 1978 to 1986 and finished his playing career with the Green Bay Packers in 1987. Yeah, a lot of obituaries came down this week, a lot of them just in the last day or so, that I heard about. All right, let's move on to today's birthdays and anniversaries for January 11th. Quarterback, halfback, and tailback Patty Driscoll, born on this date in 1895. He died in 1968 at the age of 73. Played his college football at Northwestern and played 10 NFL seasons between 1920 and 1929 with the Chicago Cardinals and the Chicago Bears. He just kind of crossed town to play for different teams. He was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1965. He was also the head coach in the NFL for the Cardinals from 1920 to 1922. He was an assistant coach with the Bears from 1941 to 1955, and he was the Bears head coach in 1956 and 1957. In college, he coached at Marquette from 1937 to 1940, and he also won the 1925 NFL title
with the Cardinals. So yeah, he's pretty well known in the city of Chicago
Right.
for coaching and playing both teams there. All right, our last obituary is that of wide receiver Freddie Solomon, born on this date in 1953.
You say obituary because it's a birthday / anniversary.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I did say obituary. Yeah, because he's dead. Freddie Solomon, born on this date in 1953. He died in 2012 at the age of 59. He played college football at Tampa and was selected in the second round of the 1975 NFL Draft by the Miami Dolphins. He played 11 NFL seasons. He was with Miami from 75 to 77, and the San Francisco 49ers from 1978 to 1985. And I remember Freddie Solomon because the 49ers came to Detroit when they were at the Silverdome playing a game, and both of their starting quarterback and their backup quarterback got hurt in that game.
So Joe Montana.
I believe so, and whoever his backup was. But
Steve Young?
they had to press, no, not at that time. They had to press Freddie Solomon into duty as playing quarterback for the remainder of the game, I think in the fourth quarter. And I just remember him taking the ball from center and basically running right or left, and I don't know if he threw a pass or not, but he ran with the ball and did okay. But that's my memory of Freddie Solomon, was playing quarterback against the Detroit Lions in a game at the Silverdome. All right, anything on your phone pop up while I've been rambling?
No new coaching firings or hirings or teams folding. Nothing big like that right now.
Okay. Well, then let's move on to this week's history lesson. And this week we're going to tell you the story of a time when the New England Patriots called Harvard Stadium home. The Boston Patriots were founded in 1960 as an original member of the American Football League. In 1971, the Patriots moved into a new stadium in Foxborough, the same one that they play in today, and became known as the New England Patriots. But in 1970, the year before they moved to Foxborough, they played their home games in one of the most historic college football stadiums in the country. Originally, the Patriots played their home games at Nickerson Field in Boston. They played there for 3 seasons, from 1960 to 1962. The Patriots then played at Fenway Park from 1963 to 1968, and at Alumni Stadium at Boston College in 1969. But for one season, while they were waiting to move into their new stadium that was being built in Foxborough, the Patriots played their home games at historic Harvard Stadium. Harvard Stadium opened in 1903 and was the first concrete stadium ever built specifically for football. Today, it is listed as a national landmark. Harvard reluctantly agreed to allow the Patriots to use their stadium during the 1970 season, but there were a couple of conditions. One was that they replace the field after the season. Another was that the team was not allowed to use the varsity locker room at the stadium, so the Patriots had to dress at their hotel before heading to the game. The Patriots had actually played at Harvard Stadium one other time. In 1960, the team played its first ever preseason game there against Lamar Hunt's Dallas Texans, who would become the Kansas City Chiefs a few years later. The Patriots lost to the Texans that day, 24-14. The first regular season game that the Patriots played at Harvard Stadium in 1970 was a 27-14 win over coach Don Shula and the Miami Dolphins. It was Shula's first game as the new head coach of the Dolphins. The next 2 games at Harvard did not go so well. The Patriots lost to Joe Namath and the New York Jets 31-21, and to the Baltimore Colts by the score of 14-6. In fact, the Patriots did not win another home game at Harvard Stadium that season, losing to the visiting New York Giants, Buffalo Bills, San Diego Chargers, and Minnesota Vikings. The only other game the Patriots won that season was a road game against the Buffalo Bills. They finished the season with a record of 2-12 and in 5th place in the AFC East Division. Even though the Patriots averaged over 30,000 fans at their 7 home games that season, the students at Harvard were less than enthusiastic about the Boston Patriots playing in their stadium. In contrast, the Harvard Crimson football team
posted a 7-2 record that same year and beat their arch rivals, the Yale Bulldogs, 14-12 in the final game of the season. With all the success that the Patriots have had in recent years, it's hard to imagine a time when they were terrible on the field, or that they once played in one of the most iconic college football stadiums in the country, Harvard Stadium.
You see, it's gems like this that make football history great. Because like if you would ask a normal fan that wasn't part of like say the Detroit Lions fandom, could you name all the different places that the Lions have played? And I don't think a lot of people would be able to say Tiger Stadium at some point. Or,
University of Detroit.
Yeah, like nobody could do that. And the same with the New England Patriots. I wouldn't have been able to say, I bet you they played at Harvard at some point, right?
Yeah, I'm sure Patriots fans are aware of this.
Oh, I'm sure Patriots fans are. But I'm saying to
others.
everybody else,
Right.
like I said, I didn't know this till you brought it up, which
And
is what these history lessons are for.
And that's one of the places I really want to go to. I want to go to Harvard, see a game.
I thought you were going to say you want to go to Harvard. I was like, it's a little late for that. I don't think they'd take your grade point average.
I don't need to get a degree from there. I just want to go there and see a football game. It doesn't have to be a Harvard Yale game, but I would like to go see.
But if it was
game.
a Harvard Yale game, you'd probably.
Sure, yeah.
Don't you have some connections? Don't you know a Harvard grad? Couldn't he get you over there?
I hadn't thought about that, but maybe I do.
Put that out in the ether.
All right. Lastly, on today's show, our upcoming events calendar. Saturday, January 29th, the NFL Players Association Collegiate Bowl at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. That's one of those other all-star games. And not a high school, but this one's a college one. Wednesday, February 2nd, the Washington football team will unveil their new name. And we kind of already know what it is, or at least...
Is it the leak? Yeah, if, spoiler alert, maybe if you don't want to know, maybe. Like, I have no idea. Like, last week I was finding tweets that different names were already connecting back to the website.
Last week it was the Admirals.
Well, Admirals, and then Leaky Spiders or something like that? I don't remember what the other one was. But then supposedly some images did come out of the general manager or some team president with the logo on a piece of paper in his lap come out. Don't know if that's doctored or not. Yeah. But a lot of the speculation now is that it will be the Washington Commanders, a name that I kind of like the ring to it.
Not bad.
I like it. They tweaked that W logo that Washington's had, made it look like the Army stencil kind of look, which I kind of like. So we'll see if that's what holds up, or if it's a big red herring and it's all fake. So
we'll find out in a couple weeks.
We will find out on February 2nd, a day after this stinking podcast goes up. Maybe we'll have to wait.
Yeah, your little brother's birthday.
Yeah.
Let's see. Saturday, February 5th, the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama. Sunday, February 6th, the Pro Bowl game in Las Vegas. Sunday, February 13th, the Super Bowl 56 in Los Angeles.
Tentatively, we'll see. Because the NFL we didn't have this in the news, but the NFL was looking at the possibility of secondary locations just in case California has any COVID-related restrictions.
Yeah. It's a few weeks away, or about a month away, but a lot can happen in a month in this country. And then finally, I just added this the other day.
Well, just with the virus itself, not just this country. But,
right. Well, the virus in this country. Finally, March 1st through the 7th, the NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis.
Oh, my gosh.
Where it starts all over again.
The Underwear Olympics.
Where we find out who we're going to draft, and then the draft happens in May, and then or April, I'm sorry. And then we're getting ready for another season.
Yep.
It never ends.
Well, shoot, the next season's already started for the teams not in the playoffs. So,
right.
The NFL season never stops. But I mean, once you get to that underwear, once you get to the Underwear Olympics, that makes the next season really feel like it's upon you. Like,
who's gonna have the best Wonderlic score this year?
Yeah.
Are they still doing that?
I think they do. And then you also I can't wait to hear all the stories about some of the dumb questions that get asked of players. That leak out. Oh my gosh, some of them are so bad. But I look forward to that though.
Yeah.
But we'll see. With the Lions, let's see. We didn't even go over the draft order, did we?
No.
Normally we do.
Should
I pull that up?
Yeah,
just real quick. Just to end the show. I mean, we're not like.
Well, we talked about the top two because it involves Detroit.
We've got a couple minutes before we hit an hour. Maybe we can still get the show under an hour. Let me do my Google magic. Talk, Randy. Come on. You're a professional now. This is 231 episodes.
I have the list for the first 6 teams in my spreadsheet.
but we don't have that pulled up right now.
Keep talking. Come on. You know how long it takes to get all this stuff looked up?
Yeah. So NFL Scouting Combine, March 1st through the 7th, and I think it's April 28th through the 30th is the NFL Draft. That's
good.
That's going to be in
Good
Las
job.
Vegas also.
Okay.
As well as the Pro Bowl. So, yeah, Las Vegas is doing great things,
Yep.
but all without a head coach.
The NFL Draft is scheduled to be held April 28th through the 30th in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Your number 1 pick will go to the Jacksonville Jaguars, followed by the number 2 Detroit Lions. Number 3 will be the Houston Texans. Number 4, the New York Jets. 5, New York Giants. 6, Carolina Panthers. 7, New York Giants. This pick acquired from the Chicago Bears. Number 8 will be the Atlanta Falcons. Number 9, the Denver Broncos. Number 10, the New York Jets. This pick acquired from the Seattle Seahawks. Number 11 will be the Washington Commanders, ? Number 12, the Minnesota Vikings. 13, Cleveland Browns. 14, Baltimore Ravens. And then the 15 and 16 belong to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Ooh.
Those picks acquired one from the Miami Dolphins and the other from the Indianapolis Colts.
Wow.
Number 17 will go to the Los Angeles Chargers, and number 18 will go to the New Orleans Saints. And then the Eagles will have another pick because they still got their normal pick. So the Eagles will have 3 first-round picks, and they made the playoffs. So
Wow.
good for the Eagles,
Yeah.
I guess. We talked about this off mic, but the Eagles went into the season with the 3rd biggest dead cap, or one of the biggest dead cap situations in the league, and still found a way to make the playoffs. So I think it was them, Detroit, and one other team had like the biggest dead cap money in the league, and the Eagles were the only one to make the playoffs with that.
Wow.
So good for them.
Yeah.
Looks like they're turning things around there in Philly.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all the time we've got for this week.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
If you learned something during this podcast
I
about
never
the
do.
incredible amount of diversity that exists in the world of football, then we've done our job, because that's why we're here. We're getting paid for this. No, we're not.
What? You're getting paid for this?
Visit our website at theworldoffootball.com for news, links, upcoming events, videos, and more. Our email address is info@theworldoffootball.com.
All I got are these lousy, like, handmade coupons from Randy saying buy one, get one car ride. That's how I get to and from the show.
Yeah, here's a free car ride to use my car to go to McDonald's and get me a Big Mac.
Oh, see, I
Or
can't,
McRib.
I still got to pay out of my own pocket for my own McRib. All right, you can also like The World of Football on Facebook at TWOF Kalamazoo, where we post a lot of unique stories, pictures, and highlights from all over the world of football. You can also follow our Twitter. The address there is at TWOF Kalamazoo. New episodes of this podcast are posted every Tuesday and are available on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. Our YouTube channel is The World of Football Kalamazoo, so please subscribe, rate, review, give us a like, leave a comment, and let us know what you think and what you'd like to see, and come be a part of the football conversation.
Once again, we are doing our weekly NFL picks, which are going to be few and far between now for the rest of the season. But this year, they're available exclusively on our YouTube channel. So look for them, well, normally on Thursday, but I think this week it might be Friday before we get
Friday or
those out.
Saturday before the playoff games.
Yeah.
Just give us a little flexibility. I mean, there's only 6 games to pick from this week. And
Yeah, I want to know what's going on with COVID before the weekend, before I make my picks.
We figured, we could give ourselves a couple days, because now we don't have the pressure of a Thursday night game to try to get it up. You know, I don't have the pressure of trying to edit a long video with all those graphics I like to put in there. But we'll get it up, hopefully, at the least Saturday morning before the games start up.
Yeah. And the video this week is going to have a recap of last week, which was the end of the regular season.
Yeah, we have a pick champion.
Yep, and so you're going to have to wait a couple extra days to see, did Adam catch up to me?
Yeah.
You were 3 games behind
Yeah.
going into the weekend. You did very
I
well
was.
for a while.
So unless you're really good at math and want to go back to that last video and figure it out yourself,
yeah.
you know, it's going to be a surprise. Because, I was down 3 games, everybody, and let's just say it was an impressive
You did catch
showing.
up. You did catch up with me early in the day because we had some different picks. So you
Don't
did
spoil
catch
it.
up to me.
Don't spoil it.
But go check that out probably this
Yeah.
Friday. You have
Friday
to
or
wait,
Saturday,
have to
yeah.
wait an extra day to see how that all worked out
Yeah.
this year. All right. And remember, folks, some people may love football more than we do, but nobody, and I mean nobody, loves more football than we do. Join us again next week when we'll review all the happenings in and around the world of football. Until then, I'm Randy Snow.
We got like 35 seconds before we hit an hour. Do we want to stall?
Just shut up.
Are you sure? We can totally stall.
No, that's good.
Okay.
Call it good.
Okay. Goodbye, everybody.